Hello there, my beautiful people. I've really been sitting here for like 10 minutes waiting for the washer to stop. My washer, when it's doing that final spin, it's so loud. And I was just like, let me be patient. Welcome back. Welcome back. I need to like get an introduction straight for this video. I'm Melody, and we're here to talk about what's on Melody's mind today. Oh my goodness. So much, so much has happened since the last time we've spoke. No, I did not move again. I just rearranged my room. This is my curtain, so my window's behind me, and I have shadows now. like, uh, it might change, but for right now, that's what's going on. But this past week and a half has been one of the worst week and a halves of my life. Emotionally, it has. It has. So last week you watched the episode, you at towards the end you heard what sounded like a dog scuffle, right? They were just remember I said I had to get off, make sure nobody was bleeding. Thankfully, nobody was bleeding. I don't I don't know, maybe they just flared up at each other. So I went to Walmart. Now I have bad memories associated with Walmart. I went to Walmart. I took my little baby cat, Boots, meow, his cute little adorable self, and my thoughts were I was just running into Walmart. I was getting 4 items and I was coming right back. I was only going to be in there for 10 minutes, so no harm, no foul. Biggest mistake, biggest mistake ever. I get back and there's a dead cat on the seat of my car. The new dog. Remember, I told you I got new dogs like a month ago. I found them. The mother shook my kitty to death. She shook my kitty to death, and all the other dogs were in the car and they witnessed it. So, yes, Boots had to be buried. Kitty coffin, kitty tombstone, had to be buried, kitty funeral because it was my little baby. I miss him so much. It had me so depressed. Like, for real. I didn't work out for a whole 10 days. Like, for almost a week straight, I just slept on the couch. Other than the bare minimal things I absolutely had to do in life, I was just depressed on the couch. God has softened my heart so much that it's not even the death of a cat. Because if Boots would have just died, I would have taken it easier. But it's the simple fact that he was killed on my watch. Because in my heart was like, well, if I would have just taken him to Walmart with me like I normally do, then he wouldn't have been dead. Or if I'd have just left him at home. So, Precious and Treasure. Precious is the dog I've had for over 3 years. Treasure is her 2-year-old daughter. They were the ones who met Boots the day he came home with me. They loved him. They loved him. They don't like cats. They don't like the street cats, the alley cats. They don't like other cats. But they learned to love the little baby because he was a baby. He literally fit in my hand. He was so tiny. You've seen videos. And they saw their little buddy be killed. Apparently, dogs mourn and they grieve just like humans. That's what I've learned this past week. So, all 5 dogs are in the backyard. And it turns out Precious and Treasure attacked Jules. They attacked Jules. I wouldn't say that bad per se. They attacked her. They got the upper hand. It's 2 against 1. So, okay, I separate them, clean them all up. Yeah, it was a bloody mess. Bloody mess. Bloody mess. Dogs like to go for ears. That's why they clip pit bull ears, because dogs like to go for ears. 2 days later, literally 2 days later, the bloody mess happened on what, Tuesday? Tuesday, yes. Bloody mess happened on Tuesday. 2 days later, I take my husband to work and I leave Jules and her 2 daughters, Yin and Yang, because they're the Yin Yang twins. They are. They really look like They're twins as far as I'm concerned. They look opposite. One's mostly black with a little bit of white, and one's mostly white with a little bit of black, but she looks like a cow. But they're the yin yang twins. So I leave Jules and her twins at home, and we walk through the door. Precious and Treasure take off running, and they brutally attack Jules. Like gashes on her head. Oh my goodness. This is the worst dog fight I've ever seen in my life. I had to try I had to tear them apart. I mean, I'm punching my puppy, I'm punching them. I had to call on the name of the Lord for him to solve it because I have never felt so physically helpless in my life ever before. It was, oh my goodness, it was so hard. It was so hard. It was mentally and emotionally traumatizing. And still sometimes when I close my eyes, I see that. To hear Jules cry like that, like my heart goes out to her. So, of course, I keep them separated and everything. Why? Why 2 days later, right? I said that happened on Tuesday when they fought Jules in the yard. And then 2 days later on Thursday, that's when they ran in the house and beat her up. Why Saturday? Why Saturday? I thought we had the situation under control. I really thought we had the situation under control. Everybody was in the living room on Friday night. Treasure's trying to kiss on Jules. I know. Everything, we're all cuddling on the couch. Everything seems peachy keen. Nope. Saturday morning, I take my husband to work, come in the house, and I wish I had it closer. I had this knife sharpener, but it looks like, and the first time I saw it, I said, that's a beat 'em up stick. I had it on the counter, and then I was pre-warning the dogs, like, I will beat you up. I will, like, stop the violence. The moment we walked in the door, Treasure took off. I knew what was going on. And all of a sudden, I hear Jules crying again. Treasure takes off. Precious is right behind her. Precious is slower than Treasure because Treasure is younger and she's more fit. So they attack Jules again in the hallway. And of course, I'm beating him with this stick. In the process, you see this? I got bit. I got bit. And this bruised up instantly. Instantly, like the moment my arm came out of a dog's mouth, I was bruised. I would take this pain in a million years over the pain that I have felt from the worst incident in my life. Last week, the cat being killed and the dogs avenging Boot's death. Me seeing being traumatized by dog fights. None of that pain compares. Last week was a terrible week, very terrible week for me. None of that compares to the pain I felt of losing my children. I lost custody of my children like 12 years ago. 12 years ago. I haven't shared the full story with most people. With most people, because this right here was the worst thing that has ever happened in my life. I've been beat up, I've been raped, I've been held at gunpoint, I've had knives at my throat, I have a scar where I've been stabbed. It's not coming up clearly on the camera, but that right here, this right here. Yeah, I've been stabbed. None of that. None of that. I've had a miscarriage. Now, that was physical pain, physical and emotional pain. I've been hit by a Navigator. I've been hit by a Honda Civic. None of that pain compares to the pain that I endured when I lost custody of my children. Now, bear with me. I'm gonna try my best not to cry. I'm gonna try my best not to cry. But if I do, we know why. This is the most painful thing I've ever had to experience in my life. I don't even remember exactly what year it was. Yeah, I do. I had Cavell in '06. I had Kaylin in '07. So this was '08, right? Yeah, it had to be '08. Kaylin, no, '09. Most likely '09. See? I just it was the most terrible thing that's I've ever been through in my life that I try not to remember the memories, like the details. That's what your brain will do to you. It tries to protect you. I know I'm a little cold. I have a hoodie on. It's the zip up kind. It sure says Jesus. Jesus praising kind of girl. Yes, I am. He's the only thing that ever brought me through. Okay, so the story goes I was living in Barstow. My husband had taken off. It had been a year since my husband had taken off. Somehow I lost my job at Zales, and now I'm back at hooking again. Yep, I went back to being a big fat whore. Wasn't fat, but I went back to being a whore. Barstow's only 2 hours from Las Vegas. So I take the what's that thing? What's that thing called? Greyhound back and forth because I didn't have a car. I take the Greyhound back and forth to Vegas, go out there and do my thing for a night or two, and come back to Barstow to be with my children. Now, that was working fine until the man who I was in love with at the time, and he lived with me because I didn't live with him, he lived with me. It was my apartment. He was stupid enough, yeah, and I'm gonna say it just like that. He was stupid enough to go to jail for robbery with a BB gun, right? With a BB gun. So now I'm depressed again. Yeah, depression's real because I loved him. I loved him. He was sentenced to jail for 2 years. Well, prison. Prison. He went to prison. He went to prison. Yeah, if you rob somebody with a BB gun, it doesn't matter if the gun's real, BB gun, a banana under your shirt, whatever. If you make people believe you have a gun, you're being tried as if you have a gun. Crazy, right? Yeah, so don't attempt it. So he goes to prison for 2 years. I suffer from depression, and then eventually I have to get up and take care of my kids. Now, his best friend started watching my kids so I can go back and forth to Las Vegas to take care to go back to hooking. His best friend ends up moving into my house. I have 4 children. I'm a single mother. I need a live-in nanny, male nanny. I need a live-in nanny for help. It is not easy to take care of 4 children all by yourself. I need round the clock help. So he moves in with me, and eventually, it's. Let me tell you one thing about hustling. Let me tell you about one thing I've learned about hooking across this country, not even just in Las Vegas. Holiday weeks are the worst. Men want to spend time with their family. They're on vacays. It is it's possible to make money, but your money slows up. So this is the first week of July. July, I hate July. There's a curse on the month of July for my family. So seriously, it's not just me who believes that. Several people in July in my family are like, "Oh yeah." I'm starting to think that it transferred to January this year. Hey, so first week of July, terrible. And it's leading up to the 4th of July. I eventually tell old dude, like, just pack up my children and come out here because I know I'm not making enough to go back and keep on going back and forth. So I'm like, just bring the children out here and we'll all get a hotel and we'll stay out here and I'll do my thing. So that's what I was doing. We had a beautiful 4th of July. Kaylin, he was so cute. He was terrified of the fireworks. He was one. Yeah, he was 1.5 years old. He spazzed out for the fireworks because, I mean, they're loud. Like, so days later, and we still haven't recuperated from this terrible holiday. The guy who was there to watch my children, I mean, he had apparently some love interest back home in Barstow, and she said that she had $1,000 for him. And I was just like, well, then have her wire it to you. And she had every excuse under her sleeve why she wasn't wiring it to him. And he refused to listen to me because he was young, and he refused to listen to me. So she's like, no, just come here and I'll give it to you. I knew that was crackable. So eventually I sent him back to Barstow so he'd see. Now, dumb decisions. Dumb decisions. He could have just stayed there and listened to me and watched my children and I'd do my thing. But no, he was convinced that he go to Barstow, get the money, and wire it to me so I could take care of my children. Did not happen that way. Did not happen that way. He gets there, there's no money, like I thought. So now there's no money, and I didn't have enough money to send him back to Barstow, to back to Vegas, where I was with my children. So I had to go out and leave my children in a hotel room to go make some money. Night one goes okay. It goes okay. But me being a scaredy cat, because my children are alone in a hotel. There's 4 children. There's a 7-year-old. There's a what? How old my children? I don't know. There's seven. No, they were older than that. There's a 1-year-old, almost 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and yeah, 5-year-old and a 7-year-old or some 8-year-old. However, their ages went. So it's just all bad. All bad. All bad. Yeah, he was 8. He was 8. Isaiah was 8. I went out, I made $100, and I was just like, I'm back in the hotel room. I need to pay I have made enough money to pay for the hotel again and to buy my children food for that day. I was just I was scared. I was scared to leave my children alone in the room, and I had all right to. I had plenty of friends who thought it was okay to leave their children in hotel rooms or in the apartment for the night while the children are asleep to go out and kick it. Me, I'm just like, no, you're not supposed to. But what other choice did I have? My husband at the time was living in Las Vegas. I asked him to come watch my children. He refused. He refused. I don't know. I don't know why, but I had nobody else to watch my children. So day two, or night two per se, I kiss my children, I tuck them into bed, and I tell them I'm gonna be back as soon as possible. They know not to answer that door for anybody. They knew. I mean, my children, even though the oldest one was 8 and the youngest one was 1.5, they're my children are highly intelligent, and I taught them. I taught them well. I could be a teacher. I could be a teacher with no formal training. My children knew way too much at a young age. Like, so they were safe. They were safe. And yes, baby's 1.5 years old, fully potty trained at a year and a half because I was on my P's and Q's. Just because I didn't have a good job to take care of 4 children, no child support. Never have I received child support ever. 4 children, 3 different daddies. Never. I didn't get no money for them kids. I wish, or I wouldn't have been in that situation. So I go out, and in my mind, I'm just like, I need to make enough money to pay for the hotel, to pay for food, and to get the babysitter back out there so I can get some relief. Just so desperation is over me. Let me tell you one thing in the world. The worst thing to do is to try to do something when you're desperate, to try to hustle, just to try. Desperation is the worst. It messes with you. It blinds you. It makes you do things that you normally wouldn't do. It makes you see things, not see things that you would clearly see. So I'm out. I'm out doing my thing, trying to do my thing. And lo and behold, this is the night I get arrested by Vice. Yes. I don't even remember how the conversation went down. All I know is I was told I'm being arrested by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. I know they're crazy. I have that name still stuck in my head, right? And I literally fall to the ground and I tell them, my children are in the hotel alone right now. I need you to send somebody to check on my children. I'm getting arrested, and my first thought is, I need to make sure my children were okay. I could have held my tongue, and my children would have been in that hotel for 2 days by themselves, and I would have got out and gone back to doing what I did. But I couldn't go 2 days with my children being unsupervised. Cause yeah, when you're in Las Vegas back then, all you did was go to jail for 2 days and then they released you. I couldn't have it on my heart for my children to be unsupervised for 2 days. A couple of hours, that had me nervous enough just for a couple hours. 2 days? No. So yes, I literally fell to the floor, started crying, and told them the situation. Of course, they sent an officer, and it's funny though because the children refused to answer the door at first. Because, like I said, my children, they know better. They know better. I even told my children, don't answer the door. Police come to the door. Like, like I, gr- I was a hustler. We've had police come to the door before, and my son has answered the door when the guy I was dating, yeah, he's answered the door before. So I told him, like, no, I don't care if police come to the door. You don't answer the door for the police. That's no, and be quiet when the police show up. Like, no, we don't. Nobody move. Like, we hit the floor and act like nobody's home when the police show up. Seriously, that's just. I was raised by crackheads, so that's just how we get down. So eventually, the police got in and they took my children to CPS, Children Protective Services. Now, Las Vegas is the worst place in the world you can get a case against you and your children. They didn't really want to work with me. They didn't really want to work with me. They took my children. They took my children. Months later, my I told you I wasn't going to try to cry. I'm trying my best not to. Months later, I found out that my middle boy, Cavell, the one who was almost 3, because he turned 3 while he was in foster care, first couple weeks. So we had his birthday party at the children's services office. We had his 3-year-old 3 we had his birthday there. He was 3 and a half. Found out he had cancer. Las Vegas did not want them babies to come back to me. They told me I could not legally support my children, so I didn't deserve to have them. I told them if my children come back, I'll get on welfare. I'll get on welfare. There'll be an income there. And now Cavell has cancer. There's a social security check there. They told me because of the fact that don't get the check before the children show up, That doesn't count. Even though they know the government would have given me a check for Cavell, and that would have covered the rent. And I found a job. I found a job at Burger King, but it wasn't consistent hours. But it was an income. It was legal. It wasn't consistent. It wasn't consistent. I bounced around from job to job, Telemart, any place that would hire me, because when you have a record of being a prostitute, it is hard to get a job. It really is. I don't know why they use that against you. Like you're just gonna be tricking on the job, but it is hard to get a job. And Las Vegas is they did not they wanted to use everything against me. I lost them. I lost them. I lost them to the system. They decided they were going to have my children adopted by my aunt. They wanted my my ex-husband, because he's my ex-husband now, the father of Cavell and Kaylin, my two younger children. They wanted his mother to take Cavell and Kaylin, and I contested it. I was totally against it. I was separated from my siblings as a child, and I know the strain that it has put on this family that we weren't all raised together. So I called my aunt Jessica and I was like, "No, could you please take them all, please? I cannot stand to have them separated." So Jessica agrees to take them all, and I thank the Lord for that. That my children got to be raised together. But a week after Jessica got all four of my children, she changes her phone number and tells me the only way I'm able to contact her is via email. I have gone a whole 11 years without seeing my children. Now, my oldest, Isaiah, he's 21 now. He's 21 now. When he turned 18, he came back to me. He came back to me yesterday. I actually picked him up from the airport because he's back in Texas. We're all in the same state for the first time in 11 years. We're all in the same state. We're not even all in the same city, but we're all in the same state. The three younger ones live 12 hours south. But I haven't seen them. I haven't talked to them. My aunt, she decided I'm not even allowed to talk to my children. Hasn't sent me a single picture. She We were corresponding for maybe a year via email, and sometimes it would take her weeks and months to even respond back to my emails, and then she would say some of the meanest things to me, telling me that my two sons the two youngest boys were so young that they most likely wouldn't remember me, so there was no point in me contacting and talking to them and trying to be in their lives because they weren't going to remember me. That situation almost broke me. It almost broke me so seriously. It led my life. Like I experimented lightly with drugs before then. I smoked weed and I did ecstasy twice before then. After that, I became a full addict. Addict. If there were drugs, oh yeah, give them here. Give them here. I was in just so much pain. It wasn't, I mean, even I even came to Christ and still managed to fall afterwards. It wasn't until Isaiah turned 18. Honestly, It wasn't until Isaiah turned 18 that I was just like, no, I cannot. I cannot allow my child or any of my children to see me worse than what I was before I lost them. Could you imagine seeing your mother in a bad state and then seeing her a whole 10, 15 years later and she's worse? I didn't want to become a crack whore. And I knew that was my fate if I didn't change then. I thank the Lord. I thank the Lord that I have Isaiah back in my life. I've had a couple conversations with my daughter since she's turned 18, but she so shows no desire of wanting to see me. It's going to change. I have all faith in the Lord that it will change. My youngest son, he's 14, right? I don't know. How does that math go? He's 14, right? So I have 4 more years. Yeah, he just turned 14. I have a 14-year-old, I have a 15-year-old, I have an 18-year-old, yeah, and a 21-year-old. In 4 years, there will be nothing, nothing to stop me from seeing all my children. The talk show, the soap opera, all my children. Yeah, I know. It's because I have the joy of the Lord in my heart that I am able to still laugh while I cry. In 4 more years, it has been 11. It has been over 11 years, 11 and a half years. And I still have 4 more years. So that's a total of 15 years. This this is like a sentence for killing somebody. I think I would have got less time if I had strangled somebody. And it would have been easier. Oh yeah, jail in prison would have been a whole lot easier than the life that I have led out here in the world since losing custody of my children. Most painful thing you could ever do to a mother who loves her children. I didn't abuse my children. I didn't abuse my children at all. I sacrificed my life and my soul to take care of them because I had no help whatsoever. If you have family members out there who are struggling taking care of the children, you don't have to provide financial help, but provide just emotional support. Watch the children every once in a while. Don't ever deny a mother who a good mother from seeing her child. And that is one of the worst things you could do. This is one of the worst things you can do. Yes, this this incident right here is the worst ever in my life. It was a bad mistake, a very bad choice that led to excruciating pain over the years. I have cried at least once a month for years about losing my children. It wasn't until I dedicated my life to God, not just came to Christ, but dedicated my life to fully live for Him, that I managed not to cry every 30 days. I still cry when I sit down and think about it more than 10 seconds. But it's the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. I pray nobody else has to go through this. And if you are one of the women or men out there who have been separated from their children, it's not the end. It is not the end. That I tell you, it's been 11 years and I still have 4 more years. And I linger and yearn. I yearn and I find so much motivation and passion and love and joy just thinking about the future, thinking about seeing my children when we're all older, thinking about when I'm going to have grandchildren and just being in their lives then. I don't dwell on the fact that I wasn't there for the first date and the first kiss and the first driving lesson and teaching them how to read, write, and graduation and baptisms. I don't dwell on what I miss. I look forward to what I'm going to see in the future. Don't hold on to the past. You see, when I think about the past, it makes me cry. I reach for the future. I thank the Lord that there is a future. There are going to be millions of opportunities for me to be in my children's lives, and we're going to be in each other's lives. Nothing is going to be able to stop me after the rest of these 4 years. So I praise Him and I thank Him in advance for the miracles He's going to perform. Because to see my children, all five of us together, yes, the four children in me, all five of us together again, that's a miracle to me. Might not be to you, but it's a miracle to me. Because the devil had me convinced at a point in time that it just might not happen. That's why I was so strung out on drugs. Because he told me I didn't deserve it. And I had the audacity to believe him. Not anymore. Not anymore. There will be a brighter day. Look towards the future. We're done. We're done. I can't. Please share this video with somebody else who might be struggling with not seeing their children. My message here for today is don't hold on to the past. Look for the future and find somebody, find a support group. God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost were my support group. My family abandoned me. My mother didn't even want to be in my life per se, because her thinking about me losing my children reminded of her losing her children, and it was just too painful for her. So she didn't even want to talk to me. So yeah, I had nobody but drugs, and that's, praise God, that all roads led to Him. So Jesus and the Holy Ghost and God became my support group. Find a support group, please. 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 If you don't believe in God, I'm going to continue to pray for you. But I'm going to tell you to find some physical and emotional support group. It helps to be around others. You could always comment to me on YouTube, and I will reach out to you. If you are going and struggling through pain of not being with your children, I understand. I can't say I know how you feel. That's the worst thing you can tell somebody. I know how you feel. No, you don't. No, you don't. All circumstances are different. But I feel your pain. I feel your pain. We can cry together. I cry, you cry, we cry. We cry together. Please like and subscribe to my videos. Share my video to somebody else who needs just support. My stories are motivating. They will help somebody overcome. I overcome. If I could do it, you could do it. Trust me. If I could do it, you could do it. With that being said, I'm here for you every Tuesday. Right? Yeah, Tuesday. I have 3 YouTube shows. I have What's on Melody's Mind Today, where the focus is me, but God is in every single one, as He should be. Then I have another show for like elementary children. It is called Bible Time for Children. Hashtag Bible Time for Children. New episodes every single Saturday where I'm reading the Bible to the children, because children need to know. I have a show where I upload videos every single day. I read the Bible. I read my biblical devotions to the world every single day. What is it called? Hashtag daily spiritual soul food. I'm like, what? I'm here for you every single day on that show. Please, you need some more Jesus in your life? Subscribe to hashtag daily spiritual soul food. I told you, Jesus is the only thing that has brought me through. Now I'm a faithful follower of him, worshiper, sharer of the gospel. I can't help to tell people what God has done for me. With that being said, I gotta think of an intro for this show and an outro. Cause I got one for my other shows because they're all spiritual based, but I love you. God loves you. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. Share my videos. Until we meet again, you have a blessed and wonderful day. And just overcome. Overcome. Keep your head up, like Tupac said. Bye.